In this vlog, we're replacing these Triad Silver LCR6 speakers in my living room with a new pair of Focal 1000 series IWLCR6s. Let's go through the whole process of taking these out, putting the new ones in, see if I did any bad planning, and talk about how to do an in-wall installation project. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I've been musing about this upgrade in the last vlogs. If you want to hear my reasoning and some information behind like this choice of speaker and a bigger overview of what's going on in the living room, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, recent vlogs, and the original from many months ago, living room overview, which I'm going to have to update here I think pretty quick. But in any case, I want to get the living room audio quality stepped up. We listen to a lot of music in here. It's really our prime music listening space in the household. I want it better for some TV show watching and so on. And I'm a self-admitted Focal fanboy, and I want to get the living room more on the level of the upgrades that I've done in the theater, the home theater 2.0. So I have right now a 2.2 system. There's a pair of Triad Silver LCR6s flanking my TV. There's a pair of Triad Bronze subs. I'm going to leave the subs. We're going to take these Silver LCR6s out, put the two new Focals in, and get this all set up here at a next level audio experience. All right, so there's the new guys. Again, Focal IWLCR6. I'm running 3 of these in the home theater now for my left, center, and right behind the CinemaScope Seymour acoustically transparent screen. I really loved them. Thought about the Utopias. I don't need to spend Utopia money. I think it's kind of wasted on me anyway. These things are awesome. Basically like a Sopra tower equivalent for an order of magnitude less money. So what do we need to do? We need to get these existing speakers out first of all, and we'll be doing that first. Take them completely out, disconnect them, brackets, and all of that, and then move forward on getting the Focals in. A couple tools of the trade here on my nice floral table. Screwdrivers. The way the Triads go in, they screw into the brackets, so we need to unscrew everything to be able to pull those out. The Focals have a different kind of installation mechanism, like these levers that you use an Allen wrench and kind of tighten up from the front of the speaker. I think a far superior installation method, but we'll get to that. I got a drop cloth and some painter's tape for things that we need to tape up. Tape measure, level, and my Dremel, and the Sharpie. So high level, what we're going to do here again is pull those speakers out. We'll get the cutout areas marked off because these are bigger speakers going in. We'll make the cuts and then do the hookup and do the installation. So I'm expecting to put the drop cloth kind of over the TV. I want to protect dust. I'm going to pull the rug back. I've already moved our chair out. I've already moved some things out here on the left hand side. I'm kind of OCD. I don't like messes, so my goal is to minimize as much dust as possible. Unfortunately, I only have one drop cloth. I thought I had 2 or 3, but one should be enough. We'll drape that over the TV, protect that area from dust. If I can, use the same drop cloth and like basically tape up and over the subwoofers. That'll be ideal there, and I'll throw a couple of towels and rags over the edge of the furniture here. Again, just to kind of protect that initial dust cloud. We'll push the rug back, and I'll have a little touch up to do as well. We've got a couple nicks on the wall. There's one right there. You can see there's a little bit of white on the edge of the speaker. I think in conjunction with this speaker change, I'm going to go ahead and do a little paint touch up and such as well. I think we'll be cutting low enough actually that I'll end up just cutting this out, cutting that blemish out, but the above the speaker there, that's been bugging me for a while. It just got nicked up along putting those speakers in, or putting the subwoofers in. So we'll get that cleaned up. I'll also have the vacuum. If you watched the other vlogs when I was doing the in-wall speaker installations for the home theater, one of the things that I really liked doing, I think works really great, is as you're cutting, have an assistant kind of hold the vacuum cleaner and suck all that drywall dust in. It keeps it from kind of blowing everywhere and making, you end up making far less of a mess than you would otherwise. So the downside to that is it gets the vacuum all dusty and the filters and stuff inside, but I'd rather clean the vacuum out than clean out this whole nice living room area of a whole bunch of extra dust and mess. So let's get started. All right, same kind of deal. I've done unboxing on these speakers already on the channel. I do need a couple things out of here. Don't need the manuals. What I need is the cutout template. Most important piece right now. I'm interested to see as well. Yeah, these have the Focal logos on the speaker, and you get a Focal stick-on in the boxes also. So the grills are white, like they have been with the other 1000 series. We'll see what they look like up on the wall, but I would say I'm probably going to leave the ones in the theater white. I've been debating that in some of the recent vlogs, but these ones I'm pretty certain will get painted. One of the things that we'll have to work out in the process of this installation is that the speaker taps, the speaker terminals for the Focal 1000 are on the bottom. And I had this question actually posed in another vlog, which is, does orientation matter on the Focal 1000 series? And if you look at the way the speakers come out of the box, they come with a Focal logo on them. And so technically this is right side up for the way Focal does the speaker itself. And when I did the theater space, of course, I put all the orientations according to the way the logos were affixed out of the box. Now I believe that it doesn't matter. You could invert these, 180 degrees if you needed to. And I've seen other channels like Kellen's videos on Dream Media. He just did a big room with Utopias actually, and some other 1000 series speakers, and he actually had his inverted to the way this works, and I think was even able to take this logo off and flip it over and re-stick it. But we'll see when we get this out of the wall. These speakers actually used to be up above, so my left channel was up there, and then in the course of upgrades and changes I moved it down. Same thing over there, used to be way up high, moved it down, and all my wires from the rack in the basement go through the flooring here, and they come up behind the subwoofer. There's a big hole in the lumber there behind the subwoofer, and everything comes up and then spreads out. So I think that I'll have, with the existing wire, the ability to hit the bottom of the Focal 1000 series speakers as is. I don't think the speaker wire went up and came back down, but that could be one failure mode that I face here, is if I'm wrong about the way the wire routed, particularly for that right-hand channel, because that might have come up and over, and then I'm going down over there, there might not be enough speaker wire length to hit the bottom of the speaker. And I hope I don't face that. I'd rather just put them in the same orientation that they are coming out of the box, but I guess we'll see that as we go. If I have to, again, I could invert them, or even if it really comes down to it, pull some new speaker wire. But let's see when we get the speaker out where that wire kind of actually hits. So here's some reasons. I never really liked these Triads, quite honestly. I think they've been fine speakers. I just don't like the installation mechanism. So they have these clips, and you undo these clips, you put the speaker in the wall, you push them forward, and then you screw them basically to hold in the wall. And it just, you saw how when I was doing that, it kind of fell in. It's always loose, it's always tenuous, and then they've got these, the way these brackets work, the bracket face like screws in to the Triad speaker. I just think these are incredibly, the focals are just incredibly superior with regards to how they install. But again, my saving grace here is that the Triads took a 10 7/8 wide cutout to get in the wall, and the focals take a 10 7/8 cutout to get in the wall. So if I take this template and I run it down, it's perfect. So we're gonna have to cut down a little bit more, cut up a little bit more. That speaker wire is coming down, so that's not gonna reach the bottom, the actual bottom of the speaker. All right, so there we go, both silver LCRs out of the walls. The one I bought brand new, the one I bought off of eBay, they're not even the same depth. What a moron I am. I bought completely a different version of the speaker. So unfortunately this is kind of a bummer. So this is the cable for the, what'll be the left speaker. It goes up, and then I brought it back down, we fished it back down, but that's not going to be long enough to hit the bottom of that focal, which is going to be right here. But over on this side, the speakers actually come up, the wire comes up from the bottom, and we've got plenty. Shoot, so we can do the right side with the default orientation, but the left side, I don't know, I'm gonna see if I can maybe pull some of that wire out of there, because again, this wire coming down is one of these wires going up, but it's all this blown in insulation. I don't think I can, well, we'll see. I don't know if I can get it out of there. It's probably in there pretty good. This is what you get when you start projects like this. Whew, all right, disaster averted. I'm probably got a bunch of dust in my eyes and I'm gonna itch for a week, but I was able to pull this down enough. So sweet, we'll be able to use the existing wire. I'll be able to keep both of the speakers in their default orientation. So next step, we need to figure out these templates, figure out where I want the bottom of the speaker to sit, where I'm going to make the cuts, and get that done. I certainly will be cutting above and below, and I hope, you can see I tore up some drywall a little here. The top and the bottom won't matter because again I'll be cutting, but these nicks, I hope that the focals, this is the worst one, it really took a chunk out of this corner here. But I think the focals have enough of a lip that will get covered up by the speaker, and I won't have to be touching any paint there. If I do, that's going to delay the whole thing. My goal is to get these in one take, one setting right now and be done with it. But if I have to paint, then that's got to dry all the way, because you don't want to be cinching an in-wall speaker baffle down over wet paint, or it's going to dry together. All right, so the top of the grill of the subwoofer is about 32 inches off the floor. In retrospect, if I could do it again, I probably would drop that another 2 to 3 inches. And where I have this situated right now, the bottom of the cutout / the bottom of the speaker is about 36 inches. So I think 3-4 inches of separation is probably about ideal, just to make sure that they're not too close to each other. There's enough wall there to hold things stably. I don't even have that taped up. It just kind of like stuck in there. So I'll be cutting down a lot more than I'll be cutting up, but I will be cutting up and down a couple of inches. So I think I'm just going to set the bottom of that cutout at 36. The grill will go another 1/2 inch lower, have a nice couple inch gap between the two. And I did check the width, and the speaker will cover up the side to side blemishes, so that's good. I won't, unless I screw up with the Dremel, famous last words, I won't have to do any painting. So I'm going to mark the bottom from the floor, little mark on the wall, draw a bit of a level line on the wall, and then put the template up at the bottom, nice and level, draw the top, draw the bottom, do the same on the other side, and then we'll be cutting. There we are. We got marks on the wall, a couple inches above, several inches below. Focal is a much taller speaker. And then on the left side there, so we'll cut that top out, cut that bottom out. I will be cutting with the Dremel, just like I did down in the theater room. Basically the rotary bit, it worked really well. I was very, very happy with the results that I achieved downstairs. We will see if I can replicate those results here in the living room. Alright, there we go. Holes opened. Man, I hate doing this stuff. I like software. Give me a computer, nice window and a desk. And let me write code versus cutting dusty drywall and insulation and all that stuff that goes with it. I'll take my job any day. Or just put in towers. That's the up and the downside of in-walls, right? Is once they're in, it's pretty awesome. They're so clean and everything looks nice, assuming right you do a really nice install. But it takes some work to get there. Whereas a tower, of course, just looks great. You know, you buy a nice looking speaker, you stand it up, it just looks awesome. But then you got this thing standing out in your room. If you want good acoustics with it, you gotta like have it a couple feet off the wall. So if you don't have the right space for it, it's just kind of obtrusive. But now we're gonna try to fit, just test these for some fit, make sure that I'm right, that we don't need to do any touch up around the face of those openings. I hope that's the case. Just leave it marked up like that and the speaker will cover it and you won't see it from the front kind of or from the side. And if that works, then we're good to go. I can wire these in and start the process of turning the insanely long bracket screws that fit the 1000 series into the wall. All right, I was wrong. So even with the speaker in the wall there, you can see a little white here. That one ended up really far away from the cutout, unfortunately. And even this one you can kind of see. It's just on the edge, so I don't think I need to putty anything. But I think I'm going to just tape off the top and the bottom and just do some touch-ups there, kind of right around the opening. Ah, what a bummer. Hopefully I can get this to dry really quick and it won't be a problem, and I can still have the speakers in today. Paint's dry for a second coat, usually within an hour. I'll get the fan out, blow the fan on it, and just go about it that way. Alright, well, that's not going to hold up to any close scrutiny. So, if you ever happen to come to my house and I demo my systems for you, don't come look close at the edges of the speaker installs in the living room. But it'll work. Someday the whole house is going to have to get painted properly. We've been here several years and it'll have to happen. It'll have to happen someday, and then maybe then I'll take occasion to pull all this stuff out and it'll all get patched and done properly. But this will be clean. I think unless you get right up next to the edge of the speaker and you kind of look like parallel into it, you're not going to see anything. No white drywall and such. It'll work. Alright, so we're progressing a bit. I'm cleaning up. I got the fan running. It's been maybe an hour total. I had the fan blowing on the left side for about a half an hour, the right side now for a little while. Twisted up the ends of the speaker wire. That stuff's ready to connect. I wiped all the subwoofers down, cleaned up a little bit of my paint touch-up, kind of overspill that got onto the frame of the speaker. Put some things away, cleaning up the ones that came out and getting ready. I think we'll still get this all done tonight. I think one of the main questions I need to answer for myself, though, is do I use the fabric, the black fabric? Like I said, I'm most likely going to end up painting these grills, and do I want to, I guess we'll have to see how much of the speaker drivers we see behind the baffle or behind the speaker cover itself, and then decide from there. But I think my touch-up job went okay. It blended pretty nice. The speaker overlap will cover up the worst parts. Yeah, so this will be nice. I think I did a good job so far. Alright, almost ready. I did cut back the wires a little bit. They were kind of long, and I didn't want to mess a wire sitting in the cavity on top of a shaking subwoofer. So I kind of wanted enough wire to hit the bottom of the focal and have it kind of float or up against the insulation and keep it more steady, kind of locked in there. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit more. I'm still cleaning up, wiping some things down, putting some things away, and we'll be ready to put the speakers in hopefully very soon. Alright, so I did finish the project, but I didn't finish the video in one day. It's about 3 or 4 days removed from the installation of the speakers and making the bookend to go with the whole install vlog kind of thing. I did decide to end up putting the black film inside the speaker cover. You can see that just peels off the backer that comes in the box, and then you kind of stick it inside there. It'll be easy enough to take this off and put it back in if and when I do decide to paint the grills. So that's not explicitly a concern. I did notice that standing up close you didn't really see the drivers, but backing further away, actually, and depending on the lighting, you can see the array of the speakers, you could see the Focal logo and such behind them. So I did opt to go ahead and put these in for the purposes of the living room, just to obscure being able to see through the grill a bit. So using the speakers in the room a little bit over the last few days and having a couple of bass heavier tones and some thumping, I did notice that the grills were rattling a bit, and so I tried to not bend them per se, but just adjust them a little bit more to catch a little stronger on the top, and that seems to have resolved that. I am running these full range right now. Technically the subs are crossed over at 70 Hertz and the Focals are actually running the full range signal. I didn't re-plug in the high pass filters that I had. I had to get a couple of, or I need to get a couple of like mini RCA male female-ish adapters to be able to put those back in the signal chain and cut these speakers off above 70 Hertz while I await some future solution, which I don't know, still could be a mini DSP, maybe preferably might be an Anthem MRX540, which isn't readily available to just go out and buy. So I don't know when those might come in, and they might be available, but topic for another time to go into. As it is, the speakers are working. I can say they're working great. I think I like the sound. I've been listening to that, the sound of these speakers and the performance of these speakers in the theater for, I don't know, some weeks now, and of course I like it, and the Focal sound from the Electras and such before that. So I'll give it some more time and try to see if I can characterize the difference between the Triad, between the Focal and the former Triad Silver LCR6. I think, as I mentioned, I don't think in any way I felt that the Triads were bad speakers. I used them for a long time, and I thought they were great. I think these are a step up, though, in some detail and some clarity in that, and particularly fixing my screw up where I wasn't actually running an equal pair of Triads. Now I have a proper set of truly matched speakers in the living room again. And I think that's made a bit of a difference as well, particularly with the Phantom Center, kind of anchoring the Phantom Center and reestablishing the operation or the presentation of the Phantom Center more clearly. I really like the Phantom Center effect in this room. That's probably something I'll talk about in some more detail in a future video as well, and how we have a very wide couch, and I often find myself actually sitting on the ends, either kind of laying with my head on the one far end or sitting in the L shape of the other corner. And when I watch the screen, I don't have to delude myself or fool myself into thinking that dialogue and sound and such is coming like just straight up from the center of the TV like it's supposed to. So very happy with them. Again, I like the speakers. I think a qualified choice given the amount of time I've spent with Focal in this kind of line. And yeah, so I'll be covering it more on the channel. If you have questions about it, let me know. Hopefully this video was kind of a fun one. I wanted to cover the process of like how to do an in-wall installation like this, particularly with a little complication because it wasn't just a clean install, but it was taking an old in-wall out and replacing it. I hope folks find that useful. If you're thinking about getting into a home theater project and doing some installation and set up yourself, the kind of things that you need to think about, the kind of stuff that you need to do, you know, to make it successful and make it work out in the end. So absolutely, please, you know, comment if you've got some thoughts or some questions, and let me know what I can answer about this whole operation and doing the setup up here. As we go forward in the channel, I'll end up refilming basically a living room home theater tour as I have really kind of evolved it now in terms of how it's running and the sources and the gear that's driving it. very different from the original one I did on the channel. And of course, as I continue to tinker and do stuff, and if and when I decide to go ahead and paint these grills, of course I'll film that for a future vlog as well. That just, I don't know. I'm sure I can do it with some nice spray. It just makes me nervous. The last thing I want to do is like clog up any holes. We'll see. Always more stuff to do in this hobby, and always more stuff to tinker with and optimize and so on in our spaces. So thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Look down in the description for some ways to support the channel, and we'll see you soon.